Hello once again, grade 7 Spedgens. Welcome to the fifth week of our module-based instruction. And our topic for week 5 is all about the past perfect tense. As I have already mentioned, our topic for this week is all about the past perfect tense. So hindi kita palihog magka-confuse sang past perfect tense sa aton last week nga topic nga simple past tense kay lainay na sila nga duwa. So before we talk about the past perfect tense, let us first review kung ano ang ginatawag nga simple past tense kay para ma-compare nyo sila later kag makita nyo kung ano ang mga differences nila nga duwa. Okay? So, let's try to answer the following questions based on our previous discussion. So, first question, how do we change a verb into its past form? Sige. So, sa aton natun-an ligad, depende kung ang verb naton regular o kon irregular. So, dapat mahibaluan danay naton if the verb is regular or irregular before we can change them into their past form. If a verb is regular, it means if we change it into its past form, we simply add D or ED. That's right. But if the verb is irregular, it means we have to change the spelling of the word. I also said during my discussion nga ang mga irregular verbs, usually what we do is that gina-memorize naton ang ilang simple past form. Okay? Ang be verbs naman nga is kag are nagahimo was kag were sa simple past. And lastly, our helping verbs do and does, when changed into their past form, become did. Okay? So I hope you remembered that. Second review question. How do we use the simple past tense of the verb? Oh, very good. So for the simple past tense, we have two uses for it. One is if the action is already done in the past or was already done in the past. So number one is for past actions. Second, a series of actions that happened in the past. So ikaduwa nga usar sang simple past form is ang sunod-sunod nga action nga still natabo man japon sa past. So try to remember always when we talk about the simple past tense, it talks about the actions in the past. Para sa aton topic sa sininga week nga past perfect tense, please take note of the following objectives. 1. Dapat pagkatapos ng lesson, we already know the past perfect tense. Dapat makabalo na kita kung ano ang ginatawag nga past perfect tense. And second, write about past events and experiences using the past perfect tense. And of course, you will be writing sentences later in some of your activities kung sa diin aton usaron ang past perfect tense. Let us now begin our discussion. The first thing that we need to study about the past perfect tense is ang iya nga form. Okay? So sa liwat maghambal kita gani form kung ano ang itsura sang past perfect tense. Sa liwat ang past perfect tense lain sa simple past tense. Manotice nyo na later kung ano ang ila kinalain. Ang simple past tense may D or ED. What about ang past perfect tense? Let's find out. So this is how you will write a verb in its past perfect form. Ang formula, kung i-change nimo ang verb sa iya nga past perfect form is the one nga makita ninyo sa inyo nga screen. So the past perfect form is composed of the word had plus the past participle form of the verb. Okay? So just to make it clear, maghambal kita gani past participle o sa liwat ginasa ulo na siya ha. Most verbs, remember our regular and irregular verbs. Kalabanan sa mga regular verbs, when we change them into their past form, or their past participle form rather, sa liwat we just simply add D or ED. Like, maghambal kita, had danced. Nan. So, ang danced da, is already the past participle form. Pareho man sang iya nga simple past. Pero sa mga verbs nga irregular, if you have that in your elementary years, usually ginapasa ulo ang verb sa tatlo ka form. O example, mahambal kita, eat, eat nga kaon. And then we have eat, ate, eaten. 'Di ba? I don't know if you have that in your elementary, but then again, usually amo na sa ang ginapasa ulo sa aton. So maghambal kita gani eat, ate, eaten, tatlo to ka itsura sang verbs. Ang ikaduwa, that is the simple past. So maghambal kita eat, ate, eaten. Ano ang simple past sang verb nga eat or kaon? O kay ikaduwa, we have ate. Correct. Pero ang ikatatlo, eat, ate, eaten, amo na sa ang ginatawag nga past participle. Therefore, the past participle of the verb eat is eaten. Okay? O another example, mahambal kita be for example verb nga show. Show nga ipakita. O kung ginsaulo nyo na sang una ang show, usually ang pagsaulo sina is show, showed, shown. Nan, tatlo ka itsura sang show nga verb or pagpakita sa English. Okay? So, ang second form ya nga showed, S-H-O-W-E-D, amo na sa ang simple past form sang show. But then, ang ikatatlo nga form, which is shown, S-H-O-W-N, amo naman na ang past participle. So, the best way to learn about the past participle form of the verb is, again, ginasaulo na siya. Okay? Pero balik sa aton point. Ang pinaka-point naton, kung ikaw pamangkoton, ano ang itsura sang past perfect form nga verb? Ang sabat, had plus past participle form of the verb. Okay? So, amo na sang itsura sang imo past perfect form. Let us try to look at some examples of the verbs in the past perfect form sa aton next nga slide. So, here you go. What you have on your screens right now are the examples of verbs in the past perfect tense. Okay? So, kung nakita nyo, amugid exactly, di ba, ang hambal ko kagina, nga ang itsura sang past perfect tense nga verb had plus the past participle form of the verb. Okay? So, butangan naton partition ang aton nga examples. Nga aman, ano ang na-notice nyo sa duwa ka grupo? Sige, be. So, ang una nga grupo, tanan sila nag-end sa ed, di ba? Regular verbs ang examples sang verbs nga ara sa perfect tense sa aton nga first group. Whereas, atong ikaduwa, ang halin sa had brought pakadto had eaten, they are all irregular verbs. Okay? So, hindi kita pwede makabutang sang di kag ed man Japon because kinahanglan gani naton memorizon ang ilang nga past participle form. Okay? O sige. Now, we will read all together the examples of verbs in the past perfect tense. In 3, 2, 1. Had worked. Had smiled. Had liked. Had copied. Had believed. Had brought. Had bent. Had gone. Had risen, had eaten. Okay? So once again, ang ginbasa naton are all examples of the past perfect tense. Tulo ka maayo kung ano ang itsura sang past perfect tense. So now that we know kung ano ang form or ano ang itsura sang aton past perfect tense, let us now talk about the function of the past perfect tense or kung paano siya ginausar. Okay? So the next slides will explain to you paano bala usaron ang past perfect tense sa sentence para later makabalo ka man mag-ubra sang sentence nga ginagamitan sang past perfect tense. Alright? O, sige, basahon danay naton ang use of the past perfect tense. So, the past perfect tense tells about a past action that was completed before another past action started. Okay? So, tungaon naton sa duwa ang aton definition so that makaintindi ka kung diin nga importante nga part sang definition ang dapat nimo lantawon. Okay? So, ang past perfect tense gali ko no, nagkasugid parte sang isa ka past action. Oh, this is the first part. Nan. A past action that was completed. Nga nakumpleto na nga daan before another past action started. So this is the second important part of the definition. Ubod silingon, kung intindihon naton ang definition, ang past perfect tense gali, kung usaron mo siya sa sentence, more likely, how many actions do you have? Base sa definition. Duwa ka actions. Okay? So, once again, the past perfect tense tells about a past action that was completed before another past action started. So, may duwa ka ka-action, tapos, ang nakumplito na nga action, amo na siyang usaran mo sang past perfect tense. Ang nakumplito nga action bag-o pa mag-start ang isa naman ka action. Kung medyo nagamuhan, do not worry kay malantaw kita sa mga examples after so that you would understand better kung paano usaron ang past perfect tense. Okay? So let's have some examples. Let's study this example so that we might know or we might understand more how to use the past perfect tense. So basahon natay danay naton. After Anna had eaten rice and hot dogs for breakfast, she brushed her teeth. Okay, so that's how the sentence goes. Now, kung lantawon ang sentence, kay hambal gani let us study the sentence para maintindihan ta ang past perfect tense. Syempre gin-underlinean ko na ang past perfect tense. We have there had eaten. Di ba? Okay, pero kung lantawon ang sentence liwat, how many actions can you see in the sentence? O, sige be, pila ka bilog actions ang makita sa sentence. Alright, so in the sentence, we have 2 actions. And what are these actions? Ang isa gin-underlinean ko na, kaon. Therefore, you have there had eaten. What is the second action? Of course, we have the action brushed. Okay? So may duwa kita ka verbs. Now, na-identify ta na ang duwa ka verbs. Ang pamangkot, kung imo analyzon ang sentence pagid, diin bala ang una nga action nga natabo. Bala nag-una siya danay kaon or nag-una siya brush. What is the answer? Very good. Si Ana nag-una danay kaon. So this is 1. 1 means first action. And then nag-ano siya? Nag-toothbrush. Okay? So sa imo sentence may duwa ka ka-action. Kag kung inyo na notice, dapat by now kabalo ka na kung paano mag-usar sang past perfect tense. Ang una nga action nga natabo, that takes the past perfect form of the verb. Ang later nga action nga natabo is simple past lang. Okay? So, amo na sang ginahambal ko kagina nga ginausar ang past perfect para sa isa ka action nga natabo bag-o ang ikaduwa nga action natabo sa past. So, ang first nga action or ang earlier nga action, that is the past perfect form. Ang ikaduwa nga action ay ang pinakabag-o nga action only takes the simple past form. So, that is how we use the past perfect tense of the verb. Let us study another example for better understanding. Alright, let's read this sentence all together first. Mark and Melly had painted the bedroom walls blue before their first baby went out. Okay? So sa liwat aton lantawon ang sentence. Pila liwat ka actions may ara sa sentence? Again, the answer is 2. So the first action is already underlined, that is painted, but that is the past perfect tense. Kay may had, di ba? So had painted. What about the second action? So we have the second action, went out. Di ba? Nagwa. Okay. Sige. Diin ang unang action na tabo. Bala, nagwa danay ang bata before nila ginpintahan or naminta sila danay sang bedroom sang bata blue before nagwa ang bata. Okay? Or try to understand the sentence. You have there the time marker before. Okay? So what was the first action? So once again, the first action is this. Naminta sila danay. And then the second action is nagwa ang bata. So ang first action or ang earlier action, amo na siya ang ginusara naton past perfect tense. Ang second action or ang later nga action, amo na siya ang ginusara naton simple past form. That's why the first action is had painted, while the second action is just went. Alright? O, sige, isa pa gid ka example. Last na lang gid nga example para sure gid nga naintindihan. Okay? Once again, let's read the sentence all together. I got to the airport early, but the plane had left already. Okay? So again, identify the two actions. Okay? Ang isa ara na had left o but silingon nagbiya na or naglakat na. The second action is what? Oh, so the second action is got, which in Ilonggo means nag-abot. Nag-abot sa airport kag ang eroplano naglupad. Okay? So let's analyze the sentence again. Which action happened first? Ang pag-abot niya sa airport or ang paglupad sa eroplano? O try to understand the sentence. Alright. So sa aton nga sentence, nag-una danay lupad ang eroplano. Bag-o siya nag-abot. But silingon na ano siya? Na late. That's why may ara kita marker nga but. But in that case, hindi siya time marker, pero nagapakita nagapakita sa nga may ara opposite sa situation. 'Di ba? Okay. So ang first action nga naglupad ang eroplano takes the past perfect form of the verb. That's why we used had left. Okay? Ang ikaduwa nga action or the later action simply has the simple past form of the verb. That's why the second action is got. So, sa liwat, sulit-sulit, aton panumdumon, kung may duwa ka gani ka actions, tapos ang isa ka action, una natabo sa ikaduwa nga action. Ang una nga action, amo na sa ang imo nga past perfect tense nga verb. Tapos, ang ikaduwa nga action or ang later action, amo na siya ang imo simple past form nga verb. I hope it's clear and I hope you understand my discussion well. So last point to remember naton is what if gusto naton himuon ang past perfect tense nga negative. Okay? What will we do? Of course, we use the word not or never. Okay? So let's read. We use the word not or never to express negation while using the past perfect tense. Of course, you know what I mean. Ang translation sang word nga not or never sa Ilonggo or Hiligaynon is hindi. 'Di ba? So kung hindi or ibutang naton ang word nga not, remember nga ibutang na siya dapat sa tunga sang aton had kag past participle. Okay? So palihog lang taw sa example number 1, the culprit had not admitted his crime until the trial court ended. Okay? So ang aton nga past perfect form is in the negative form. Okay? Pero pareho lang na Japon ha kung paano natin ginusar ang past perfect form sa wala not kagina nga mga examples amo man na Japon. So kamo da bahala analyze ang sentence kay kabalo naman kamo. Ang sentence number 1 may ara man Japon ah duwa ka actions. Okay? You know already how to analyze the sentences nga may past perfect tense kay gintudloan ta na kamo a while ago. Second example, Claire had not practiced the song before she sang it in front of the audience. Okay? So, ang highlight naton is had not practiced. Remember, once again, we use the word not or never to express negation while using the past perfect tense. Alright, so officially our discussion has already ended. Let's wrap up and summarize everything that we learned today by answering this review question. 1. How do we change a verb into its past perfect form? O ano ang itsura liwas ng past perfect form? Very good. Ang past perfect form has the pattern had plus past participle. Example, had believed, had brought, had known. Alright? Second review question, how do we use the past perfect form of the verb? O, sige, ang definition natin kagina, we use the past perfect form of the verb for an action that was completed already before another action happened. Sa Ilonggo pa, usaron ang past perfect tense para sa isa ka action nga natapos na nga daan bag-o ang isa pa ka action matabo. So ang una nga action nga natabo amo na siya ang tagaan naton sang past perfect form nga tense. Ang ikaduwa nga action amo na siya ang simple past form. Okay? I hope again klaro ang tanan kag naintindihan ang aton nga lesson for today. So this time I will be leaving you on your own so that you can practice using your past perfect form. So kindly answer the following on your notebook kay amo ni sa ang checkan naton kag i-record para sa inyo nga week 5. Okay? So answer the following in your notebook. Activity 3, past perfect use, that's on page 8. Activity 5, sentence completion on page 12. Activity 6, quick write on page 13. Also, try to answer what I have learned on page 14 and, of course, ang aton nga assessment or test on pages 16 and 17. So, thank you for being with me and listening to our discussion for this week. I hope to see you again next week and have a good day.